Welcome to MIH at CES 2023, and we're excited to be here today with all of you. Today we have the last expert talk at the MIH booth to talk about how startups innovate in the EV ecosystem. So my name is Cheng. I'm the moderator today for this talk, and we're excited to have our two amazing startups. The first one is Felix, co-founder from DeepDrive. They're an innovator in the next generation powertrain technology. And then next we have Roy from C2A Security, and an expert in automotive cybersecurity, to share with us how the startup and how they innovate in the EV ecosystem. So as we know that the automotive industry has been around for 100 years. So and with the latest electrification efforts, this creates opportunities and challenges for startups to innovate in this EV ecosystem. So first, I would like to ask Felix and Roy to introduce themselves, to talk about themselves and their company, and then to talk about how they're navigating in this latest automotive ecosystem.
I'm Felix, one of the co-founders of DeepDrive. We basically developed a new motor technology, an electric motor, which is 20% more efficient than any current motor solution. So completely new technology, which besides its extremely high cycle efficiency, increasing the range of an electric car by up to 20%, is much cheaper and easier to produce in mass production. And the third advantage, it is very high torque density, so it's very light and compact, and can actually fit inside a wheel, similar to what we've seen in the Lotus on an in-wheel motor system. We started the company only 2 years ago. We were engineers in many of the large German automotive companies like Bosch and so on. And my co-founders, they were working at the forefront of motor technology and development of that for many of the large OEMs we know, realized over the years that in large corporates, it's obviously, you can be innovative and develop new concepts, but oftentimes it's very difficult to be radical and really unlock this huge potential that's still in electric motors when it comes to efficiency, when it comes to cost, and when it comes to torque density. And to unlock this potential, you need to work with new concepts, new ideas, break up bureaucracy, break up this baggage you have from many larger corporates. And this is the point where we said, okay, we're going to start DeepDrive. We're going to get all these specialists on board in our company, and we combine them and create this disruptive environment dedicated to absolute innovation. And this is really how we came up with this technology. Over the last 1.5 years, we fully developed and validated the core technology, and now we're selling first prototypes and now in many customer projects. We're actually working with 8 of the 10 largest automakers in the world, delivering our electric powertrains to them in first development projects, already with serious applications in mind. And what our motor promises is obviously creating a lot of space, but then also with a range and efficiency increase of 20%, you can build much smaller batteries for a similar or slightly better range. So there's a huge impact on costs of electric vehicles as well. And as we see this mega trend where the pioneers of electric mobility are going faster and faster, and all of these followers in the industry need to catch up, there's the need for urgent innovation, and there's the need for efficiency, really, because that's a direct impact on costs, and that's what we've seen, and that's why this need and this urge to create this better technology is so significant. And this really where we're coming from and the problem that we solve.
Thank you. How about Roy?
Hi everyone, my name is Roy Fridman, and I'm the CEO of C2A Security. All of us know that our vehicles are becoming iPhones or computers on wheels. Now, if we go back to the IT world or the IT revolution, you cannot imagine yourself having your personal information out there without protection, without cybersecurity to protect it. And that's what's happening right now in the world of mobility. Basically, cybersecurity is a very strong enabler for the electric vehicle revolution. And what we are trying to do at C2A is to enable this revolution by providing the first automotive cybersecurity DevOps system in order to make sure that cybersecurity doesn't become a limitation for the electric vehicle mobility revolution, but actually a business enabler. We have solutions that help the developers become more efficient and develop solutions with built-in cybersecurity. We have solutions that are enabling automation of the processes of cybersecurity identification of vulnerabilities and mitigation to make it more efficient and very quick, like in the IT world. And we have been around for longer than our colleagues here. And we are working with the top companies in the world, like Entity Data, like Marelli. We just announced a very strategic collaboration with Valeo, one of the biggest tier ones in the world. And yeah, that's what we do.
Awesome. So Felix and Roy, both of them, talk about the urge to innovate faster and quicker. So at MIH, we are an open ecosystem, EV ecosystem builder, right? To really bring together industry players to lower the entry barrier and accelerate innovation, right? So last year, we had this MIH for Startups program where we come together and put together a program to help all the different startups to join our ecosystem and innovate together with our different members within the alliance. So apparently, you guys were the two top teams that came out of the program. Well, we're really excited and happy for you, and super excited to have you join us as well. So maybe can you talk about how this experience with MIH, in working in an open fashion, working with all the different players within the industry has helped you within your startup journey?
Yeah, 100%. I think the automotive industry is a tough industry to be in, especially as a startup. And there's loads of big established players. There's very long development cycles, sales cycles. We talk about huge volumes. We talk about high hurdles when it comes to regulatory requirements, which need to be met, especially in large-scale serious production. And for us, really the reason why we can exist and can succeed is a technology which is superior to what's currently on the market. But to actually get it on the streets, we can't do it alone. We need the right partners and the right partnerships. And we know that we need to work with many of the established large players. We need a big brother who's supporting us in manufacturing, who's supporting us in industrialization of our technology. And because this partnership ecosystem is something so important, not only for us, but for every startup, and to be honest, also for the large established players that are relying on smaller, innovative companies. Something like the MIH consortium is amazing because it's a platform, it provides a platform where all of the big players can come together to work together, collaborate in a very open mindset, and you not only forge a network, meet many like-minded people, but you actually work on very interesting, on solving very interesting problems that current mobility faces. And for us, the entryway into this ecosystem was the Startup Challenge of last year, which was a lot of fun. And amazing to meet so many interesting people, other startups, and then also many of the corporate partners as well.
So for us, we are a platform. That's what we're trying to do. And our platform is also an open platform. And basically, we found in MIH, like, a big brother, you can call it, with the same ideas, with the synergy in which we take an ecosystem of cybersecurity solutions and we connect them to one unified platform, and we solve a problem that no one company can solve. Cybersecurity for electric vehicles and electric vehicle infrastructure, this is a problem that requires many parts and many, let's call it elements in a bigger tool chain, and different companies can contribute to that. And actually the MIH program kind of led to this same conclusion that we have arrived before, that the only way to do it is using an open ecosystem of solutions that connect to one unified platform. And basically that's how we found our way to the MIH program, and it was a very, very nice experience. We liked it, visiting Taiwan after such a long time, that I haven't been there. And, the ambition of the MIH program is something that I relate to and C2A relates to. And, we are here to help this become a reality.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing your experience for the startups MIH program. So maybe we can talk a little bit more about the future, right? So as electrification is going, we have all the different players and working on different areas, including you guys. So what do you foresee like in the future? What do you hope that the future ecosystem would become, and how do you envision that going? I think not just for your company, but more generally, I think for the whole industry and for I think your fellow startup friends and companies.
So for me, the future of mobility is, as I see it, I would imagine, this whole idea of connected electric and autonomous vehicles actually become a reality. This is something I've been in automotive for, I think, 10 years. I've been longer in high tech, but even specifically in automotive for something like 10 years, and I've been hearing about this revolution for a while. I've been hearing promises of when we will see autonomous vehicles on the road. I've been hearing promises of when everything will become electric. And my personal, view of this is that I want to see the technology actually come to fruition. I want to see these autonomous vehicles on the road. I want to see the electric revolution happening and seeing electric vehicles, and less carbon emission. And at the end of the day, these startups actually are us and DeepDrive and the others we are facilitators or enablers for this future. And what I want to see is that actually all of our technologies, all of these great startups, the technologies actually become mature and become real enablers for the future of mobility. That's my personal view for the future.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think that's one of the most important things, and I think we're at a tremendous shift. You mentioned in the beginning, we've had EVs for many years. The automotive industry itself is hundreds of years, 120 years old. But in the end, what's exciting now is not only the shift from combustion to electric. Not only the shift from combustion to electric.
Holy cow, what a fiasco.
Let's fix some technical issues, and then we'll continue.
Yep. Hello.
Hello.
The beatbox. Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me? No.
All right.
Hello? Yeah, I'll just use that one. So yeah, I think there's a lot happening at the moment in the automotive industry. But what's exciting at the moment, and I want to pick a specific example, is what Sony and Honda presented today, or these days. I think, there's a big shift away from, cars. I mean, cars today are used as they have been used the last 100 years. But there's a big shift to passenger experience, to entertainment, to all these things. There's new players entering the field, building their own electric vehicles. And the requirements, the specifications, and the drivers of purchasing decisions for consumers change significantly. And this sends ripples through the whole supply chain. This does not only impact the automakers that now have to think completely different of how they build a car and what a car actually means. That also means that all the suppliers in the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 have to think about their components and what that means for the future of the mobility industry. As a specific example, 10, 20 years ago, you would look at the BMWs of this world and you would look at the brochure and they advertise the power and the torque and whatever. But they don't talk about the new head-up display or what kind of passenger experience or the cybersecurity the car has. And this is a shift that impacts the mechanics part as well. So we see that as an electric motor company, it doesn't matter that much what's your power and what's your torque. But what matters is what's your efficiency. Obviously, the cost is still very important. How much space you can create. And rethinking the architecture of an electric car by putting the motor inside the wheels is something many of the traditional established players are not considering yet, but it's getting more and more accepted in the industry that this is one of the main factors that's gonna impact the architecture of electric cars. So I think this big shift in automotive industry requires that across the supply chain, all players rethink on how they position themselves and how they position their products. And this innovation can only happen when new, innovative, young companies, the speedboats, work together with the large, established players that have the know-how, with strategic partnerships like C2A and Valeo, and a few ones we are about to announce in the next couple of weeks that are very exciting, but needed both for the young players, but especially for the large established players. And this collaboration is one of the major drivers of innovation in the future, and I'm very much looking forward to that over the next couple of years.
All right, yeah, awesome. Thank you, Felix, for sharing that. Right, I mean, so kind of with this electrification changes, it's not just about changing the internal combustion engine into an electric motor, right? I mean, it's all about creating that new experiences, creating that new mobility for the future. Yeah, so I totally agree with that. So maybe we could go a little bit deeper into when you think about the new user experiences for the younger generations in the future. So I think maybe this is also your opportunity to kind of talk about how your company's technologies can help advance that. So can you share a little bit more about how specifically your technology can really create what kind of new experience that your technology can help create from the e-motor perspective and also from the security perspective?
So for us, we're a component that you can't directly see, right? But the biggest shift of what we're doing is by packaging the motor inside the wheels to create space. And space allows you to completely rethink how a car can look on the inside. Obviously, that's relevant when you talk about autonomous driving. That can mean you have mobile meeting rooms or beds or whatever, living rooms where you can have completely new passenger experiences on the way, on the streets, and therefore reduce or change the time to travel to a destination to a time where you can actually live and do stuff. But even before autonomous driving, it has huge implications because you have more space for different concepts of how interior designs of vehicles look. You have more space even when you're driving a vehicle for new type of technologies. And this is one of the key facilitators of our technology. The second main part is the more sophisticated interior design gets, especially on the technological level, the more energy is required. And to help there, you need to reduce energy consumption where you can, and that makes the whole concept of energy efficiency even more important. So the second big advantage of our technology is extremely high energy efficiency, and therefore much lower energy consumption of the motor allows for much better usage of what's available in the battery for things that actually impact the driver in his or her experience.
Well, cybersecurity is something that, it's hard to give like an example of how this can change, the interiors of a vehicle or the torque or these kind of things. But let me give you an example of how cybersecurity and how utilizing automation in cybersecurity can actually, affect every one of you. Let's imagine that you have a cockpit in the vehicle, and you wanna, in this cockpit, in the smart cockpit of the future, you wanna use apps, right? All sorts of apps. Now, if you are managing your permissions to make sure that you are cyber safe, managing the application permissions in a manual way, you'll be able to put 5 apps, all of them custom made, all of them not very complex. If you will use automation in order to manage the permissions for cybersecurity, you'll be able to put Google Play in your vehicle. So at the end of the day, what we are doing at C2A is turning cybersecurity from a limitation to a business enabler that at the end of the day will affect each and every one of you.
Great. Thank you for sharing your insights. So let me ask you the final one last question. Right? So, I mean, as a very like the leading startups, in the EV ecosystem, right? So, what advice do you have for like your future startups or friends as you're trying to get into this EV ecosystem and trying to innovate?
As a young startup in the automotive sector, your whole reason to exist is creating better technology than current incumbent players. So be very focused, and that's what we will still do in the future. Be very focused on the technology, on the product of what you're building, and make sure it's great and it's really superior, not only in terms of what you think is important, but especially what the customer and the OEM thinks is important. So that's the first big advice. The second big advice is rely on partners, build partnerships, be integrated in global networks, and work with the right big brothers to get your technology on the streets.
So from my perspective, the first advice is, first of all, patience. The automotive industry is going through a very, very significant change, but it is a very traditional industry, and digital transformation is not something that is easy for them to digest. It will take time. And all of us as startups need to understand that these are big corporates, and sometimes even to get a laptop, takes, a month of approval. So, changing the whole cybersecurity scheme of an organization, this is a long and sometimes a hard process. So patience is one. Believe in your technology and be patient until it's adopted. And second, I must agree with Felix here. At the end of the day, find the right partners, build up your right big brothers, because a small startup is, in this type of industry, is dependent on partnerships. This is the only way it can survive, the only way it can grow.
Great, thank you. Thanks so much for everyone who is here, and also thanks Felix and Roy here to share with us how their startup journey has been and how they've been able to innovate in the latest EV ecosystem. Thank you everyone.